A topic that came to my mind recently is why we don't have more GTA clones. And the reason that I'm thinking about this, I suppose, is because of GTA 6. I know that back in the early 2000s, we did have a lot of more games that wanted to be like GTA, games that thought, hey, we could do this GTA thing and probably be as successful. There was this thinking during that gaming community, I think, where they thought because GTA is doing it, we can do it and it'll work. And then all of a sudden it kind of stopped. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I played all the GTA clones and that I know exactly which games were this and that. No, I'm speaking from personal experience, games that I enjoyed growing up and games that I even recently tried out now that were somewhat like a GTA type of clone game. And I'm wondering why no other studio has picked it up and ran with it now in today's climate. But we'll start off with Mafia, the Mafia series. I played Mafia 1, I played Mafia 2, and I played Mafia 3. Now, those games are unique. They're linear story games where you're in the early 50s, in the 60s, in the 20s, in the 30s, and you're in the mob. And you're in the mafia crime world, and it has its own twist, but it's linear. There isn't all that much customization with your characters. Clothing options are limited, cars are somewhat limited, and the open worldness of it is somewhat limited. But it's still a beautiful world, especially the Mafia 1 remake. Yeah, I think it's gorgeous. I think it's a great game, and for what it is, it's amazing. Some people could call that like a GTA clone because of what it did, because of what it looked like, because of the time that it released. But it was just really good, but it missed and it lacked some of that personality and customization that maybe a GTA would have. Another game that I can think of is True Crime Streets of LA. I grew up playing this so damn much on the PlayStation 2, and it was one of my favorite games as a kid because I just loved everything about it. I've talked about True Crime in the past. Streets of LA specifically is the only one that I played, and it was just the one that I thought was the coolest. I love the protagonist. I love the world. I love everything that surrounded that world, even though if you look back at it now, it was kind of empty and the acting or the voice acting wasn't all that great. I thought it still was awesome, and I recently went back to play it because of this new series that I'm working on, and I just thought it was so fun. And honestly, it might not be like the greatest in terms of shooting and like I mentioned voice acting, but there was something about it. Maybe it's the nostalgia factor that I love because it takes me back to when I was a kid, but it feels unique as well. The music was so damn cool. It had like really cool licensed rap tracks, and it was just badass to hear that playing as I'm driving or shooting. And I'm pretty sure Christopher Walken plays one of the characters in the game because he starts off with the voiceover, and I thought that was pretty sick. It has a charm to it. I don't really know what to tell you besides the fact that it does have like a charm to it. Now, True Crime Streets of LA released around 2003, and so Vice City came out in 2002 and San Andreas came out in 2004. So this one came out right in the middle, right in between those two games. Obviously, if you were to play Vice City or San Andreas, more than likely you would prefer those games because True Crime Streets of LA also missed or lacked a couple of that open world customization vibe that the other ones had. This open world was or felt a little bit more empty, but it was still a really cool game, and people were trying. They were trying to create something, and we had an abundance of these games at the time. At least that's what it felt like. Another one that I'll mention that I have personal experience with is Saints Row 2. Saints Row 2 was my first game or my first hurrah into the Saints Row world. You guys may not know this if you haven't been watching me like from the beginning, but Saints Row from 2 to Saints Row 3, and I would even go as far as to say to Saints Row 4, were some of my absolute all-time favorite games. Growing up, Saints Row 2 took me into a world that I didn't even know existed. The thing with Saints Row is that a lot of people felt that Saints Row 2 was like trying really hard to be like GTA because of the gang, because of the open world, because of the customization. But honestly, if I take a look at Saints Row 2, it was one of the better games that I had played, especially at the time. And I'd honestly put it up against, GTA San Andreas or whatever the hell was going on at the time. I guess you would really compare it to GTA 4 because it came out around that same time. They're two very different games, but the open worlds are vast, in my opinion. At least they feel vast, they feel big. Car customization, character customization, voice acting, music, storylines. It all felt really, really cool and really fleshed together. There was a character in Saints Row 2 named Carlos. I had like a really good connection with him because he felt like he was my brother. He was my guy from jail, and he was brutally murdered, and it was such a heart-wrenching thing at the time. When I was a kid, it blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I was pissed off. I wanted to cry. I mean, it was crazy, dog. Absolutely crazy. Saints Row 2 was amazing, but then Saints Row got to a point where they said, you know what, being a GTA clone isn't what we want to do. We want to kind of venture into our own world and kind of do our own thing and kind of create a name for ourselves. And they went into Saints Row 3, which was ramped up like by 100. Like, it was just insane. It took these characters and it put them in a really tough situation. One of the more beloved characters of the series was seemingly murdered. Freaking gut punch, because I loved that character, Johnny Gat. I loved Johnny Gat. Man, growing up, I thought he was the coolest guy, coolest character ever. So when I saw him basically die, or he was supposedly dead, it was so tough to, like, I mean, you get invested in these characters. So the story, again, was pretty fun. It was pretty crazy. It was pretty out there. And the Saints basically growing, being bigger than ever, doing these things, you know, fighting a new enemy. And it was just insane. It was honestly just insane. But again, the customization of the characters, kind of adding whatever you wanted, you know, going around the city, buying clothes, fixing your car. It was all the things that, again, a GTA had, but it was in this new world. Then Saints Row 4 comes out when you're the president, you get abducted, aliens. It goes fucking insane. Superhero, you have superhero like powers and stuff like that. Again, it kind of took a really wild turn, but it was fun, it was unique, it was engaging, and it still kept that element of customization, open worldness, destruction, crime, and it was just really, really fun. It was a great series. And another game that I'll talk about is Sleeping Dogs. It's a game that released back in 2012. I remember seeing the trailer and everything, and I thought, holy shit. This reminds me of like Jet Li, that game Jet Li, Rise of the Dragon, I think it was called, or something like that. It reminded me so much of that game, and I was like, I really want that game, bro. I want that game. Get it. But I couldn't get it, and I actually ended up not getting it for years. And I ended up playing Sleeping Dogs not that long ago. I think it might have been 1 or 2 years ago that I finally was able to play it from beginning to end on the PS5, and I loved it. It was a fabulous game. It had a lot of customization. It was a big open world. It lacked a few things, like, you know, maybe adding a beard, adding new haircuts and stuff like that. But overall, I thought the customization was pretty neat. We had vehicles and stuff in the car where we could kind of pick up different cars, motorcycles and things like that. But the customization on the vehicle was a little bit limited. But the world, again, was really big. It was vast. There was a lot to do. There was a lot of side missions and things like that. But it honestly had its like own unique fighting style. It had a really deep, grounded story. There was a lot to do in Sleeping Dogs. My point to all of this yapping is that we used to get a lot of quote-unquote GTA clones. We used to get games that picked up where GTA left off, or picked up when GTA wasn't coming out. And I thought at the time it was great, but I didn't even really think about it because it was kind of the norm, you know. And if you look back during that time, there's so many games that I missed here. And the reason that I didn't talk about games like The Getaway or Driver or The Godfather or stuff like that is because these games, I didn't actually physically play them when I was younger. I didn't actually physically play them now. I haven't played those particular games. Even Scarface, The World Is Yours. That one, like, I saw videos of it growing up and stuff like that, but I actually never played it. So I can't speak to those games. Honestly, I can just speak to the ones that I did play that are considered GTA clones. And my point is this: GTA 6 is coming out in 2026 in May. GTA 5 came out back in 2013. So from 2013 to 2026, how many years is that? It's about 13 years or so. In the 13-year span, we didn't really get a true GTA clone. And now, I could be missing a game that came out during those 13 years that felt like a GTA. And when I mean a GTA clone, I'm talking like a legit GTA clone where you're a character, you're set in this big open world, this big city, and there's customization options for your character, customizations options like to change his face maybe, or to add a beard, to add hair, to change his clothes all the time, a bunch of shoe options, a bunch of car customizations, different cars, different motorcycles, bikes, going into buildings, doing missions, everything that makes a GTA game click, or what makes it kind of run. Why couldn't another studio pick up and make a game like that? Is it the fear of, well, GTA and Rockstar kind of already got this shit in the bag, so there's no point in us doing it? We won't sell as much as them. It'll be a waste of time. We won't be as good as them. Is it the fear of, well, we might release this game and then GTA comes out and it completely overtakes us? I just feel like with all these studios out there, there's been a lack of these types of games. There really has been. And I almost kind of make a comparison to the military genre. Like Call of Duty is the only big player in like this type of military world that is like for the public, for the general public, for quote unquote even like gaming casuals. Like Call of Duty is like, oh, military game, I'll buy it. Military game, I'll buy it. Even Battlefield, if Battlefield comes back, oh, military game, I'll buy it. But why isn't there more military story-driven games created by bigger publishers that are targeting regular gamers like maybe you and me that just kind of like to play games? We're not really all that deep into maybe the PC gaming and stuff like that, where there are military games, but you have to kind of download them on a PC and play them on there. Why hasn't a bigger studio or a few bigger studios created more GTA type of games? I mean, there's clearly a market for it. I want more GTA. You guys want more GTA. I'm pretty sure you'd be down to play play a GTA clone that was well made, unique, had its own world, kind of had its own world building and its own unique features and stuff, I'm pretty sure you would have loved to play that in the 10, 13 years that we've been waiting for another GTA game to come out. I guess it's just a sad state that we don't get these games anymore, you know? And a lot of people complain, or a lot of people have talked shit about these games, like they were just cheap copies, they sucked, why would you want to play True Crime or something like that, or Saints Row or whatever, when you can play GTA? And I get it, but they honestly weren't that bad. They really weren't that bad. Sleeping Dogs was amazing. True Crime Streets of LA, maybe nostalgia is blinding right now to me, but I remember having so much fun with it and going back to play it recently. I thought it was really fun. There was a couple things that I wish I could have changed, but it was really, really fun going back to play it. The Saints Row series from 2, 3, and 4 were amazing. I don't know about Saints Row 1, and that Saints reboot that happened, don't even get me fucking started on that piece of shit. It killed the series. I don't know what they were thinking, and it makes me sad to this day to think about that. But in general, these were great, great games. And Mafia looks like it's in its own kind of world now. It's doing its own thing. I wouldn't even consider it like a GTA clone, to be honest. It's kind of its own thing now. But I don't know. I think some competition in that space of the crime open world video game would be welcomed by fans and even the developers, because it pushes them to be better. Not that Rockstar needs anyone to push them so they can create masterpieces, but I would have just loved to see more games similar to GTA releasing, especially nowadays where we are with the technology and everything. And I guess one quick point that I can make here is, if we're gonna get GTA clones like Mind's Eye, or GTA clone wannabes like Mind's Eye, then I guess I understand why there hasn't been any more. What's your opinion on this, guys? Do you wish we had more games kind of like Sleeping Dogs, Saints Row, True Crime? You know, those games that maybe you guys grew up playing. Would you like to see more of that? Maybe them coming back in a new way under new titles and stuff like that? Or do you think we're fine and those games were pieces of trash and we don't really miss them? What do you think?